Imagine a world where the majestic tiger, typically associated with dense forests and riverine landscapes, is challenged by the rugged terrain of high mountain ranges, a domain usually reserved for the elusive snow leopard. In this exploration, we examine whether tigers have the capacity to climb and hunt on steep cliffs and rocky outcrops as adeptly as snow leopards do, and what advantages and limitations each species faces when adapted to cold, high-altitude environments. While snow leopards are renowned for their extraordinary agility and specialized adaptations that allow them to traverse craggy mountainsides with ease, tigers have traditionally been seen as terrestrial ambush predators who rely on stealth and power in environments with ample cover. Yet, as the boundaries of natural habitats often blur, there are intriguing questions about whether tigers might also exhibit surprising capabilities on rugged terrain. Tigers have evolved to become formidable hunters in environments that are rich in cover and where the element of surprise is critical. Their muscular bodies, powerful limbs, and stealthy approach have enabled them to stalk and capture prey in the dense jungles and river valleys of Asia. However, these same traits may also provide certain advantages when a tiger is forced to adapt to mountainous terrain. Although tigers are not naturally built for the same level of arboreal agility as snow leopards, which have evolved with long tails for balance, padded, fur-covered feet for gripping icy surfaces, and a lightweight frame optimized for high-altitude living, tigers have been occasionally observed in hilly and rugged areas. Historical records and wildlife observations suggest that, under certain conditions, tigers do venture into mountainous regions, areas where prey such as wild boar and deer may inhabit the lower slopes, and where the sparse vegetation provides a different kind of camouflage and stalking environment. The question of whether tigers can hunt on cliff faces or steep slopes invites us to look at both anatomical and behavioral factors. Snow leopards possess unique physical adaptations that make them supreme climbers. Their short, stocky bodies reduce the risk of injury on uneven surfaces, and their powerful hind limbs and long, bushy tails provide balance as they navigate precipitous cliffs. In contrast, tigers have a more elongated body structure and robust musculature designed for explosive bursts of speed on flat, open terrain. Their large paws, while effective for silent stalking in dense undergrowth, are not specifically designed for gripping slick, rocky surfaces. This difference in paw structure means that a tiger might face significant challenges when trying to ascend or traverse steep, icy slopes. However, this does not entirely preclude the possibility of tigers adapting to such environments. In certain areas of Asia, there are documented cases of tigers being sighted in hilly terrain and even on rocky outcrops, suggesting that while not as specialized as snow leopards, tigers do possess a degree of climbing ability that allows them to exploit a wider range of habitats than traditionally assumed. In a cold, high-altitude environment, temperature regulation becomes a key factor for survival. Snow leopards have evolved to endure the frigid conditions of their mountainous habitats, with dense, woolly fur that provides exceptional insulation against the biting cold. Tigers, while also possessing a thick coat, are generally adapted to warmer climates where heat dissipation is more critical than heat retention. In a mountain environment, a tiger might struggle to maintain optimal body temperature if its fur does not provide sufficient insulation or if its metabolism is not geared towards conserving energy in cold conditions. That said, there are subspecies of tigers, such as the Siberian tiger, that already inhabit colder regions and exhibit thicker coats and larger body mass compared to their tropical counterparts. These tigers demonstrate that, under the right circumstances, big cats can develop traits that allow them to cope with lower temperatures. However, even Siberian tigers are primarily adapted to forested, temperate, or subarctic regions rather than the extreme altitudes and rugged, rocky terrain of high mountain ranges. The challenge for a tiger in such an environment would be twofold. Not only would it have to contend with the physical demands of climbing on steep, slippery surfaces, but it would also need to adapt its hunting strategies to the sparse, open landscapes of high altitudes where cover is minimal and prey animals have evolved to be highly alert and fast. The hunting tactics that tigers employ in their native habitats are built around stealth, patience, and sudden explosive attacks on prey. In the shadowy undergrowth of a jungle, A tiger can use dense vegetation to mask its approach and launch a devastating ambush. In the mountainous regions where snow leopards excel, the prey is often more spread out and the terrain offers little in the way of natural concealment. This means that a tiger operating in such conditions would need to modify its hunting approach significantly. It might have to rely on long, patient stalking across rocky ledges and narrow valleys, using the natural contours of the land for cover rather than the dense foliage of a forest. Such an adaptation would require not only physical agility but also a heightened awareness of the unique rhythms and sounds of the mountain environment. The tiger would need to learn to navigate the echoes of wind against stone, the shifting shadows of clouds across snow, and the subtle movements of prey that have evolved to survive in an environment where every sound can signal danger. Moreover, the dynamics of competition in these high-altitude regions would present additional challenges. Snow leopards, being the native big cats of such environments, have an established niche where they are the dominant predators. They have evolved not only physical adaptations for climbing and cold tolerance but also behavioral strategies to hunt efficiently in their harsh habitat. A tiger entering this arena would be competing against a predator that is already finely tuned to the challenges of the mountains. The snow leopard's ability to navigate narrow ledges and ambush prey from seemingly inaccessible vantage points gives it a significant edge in the vertical landscape of the high mountains. For a tiger, whose strength lies in its raw power and explosive speed, the challenge would be to adapt these traits to a context where finesse and balance are paramount. It might attempt to use its superior size and strength to force a confrontation with a snow leopard. But in doing so, it would risk being outmaneuvered on the steep, rocky terrain. Real-life observations provide some insights into the occasional presence of tigers in mountainous areas. In certain regions of India and Southeast Asia, tigers have been spotted on the fringes of hill forests and rocky outcrops, indicating that these big cats are not completely confined to lowland jungles. Such sightings suggest that tigers can exhibit a degree of adaptability, venturing into areas where prey might be abundant or where human encroachment has pushed them into less traditional territories. However, these instances are generally isolated and do not represent the tiger's core habitat or behavioral repertoire. The snow leopard, by contrast, is almost entirely confined to high-altitude environments and has evolved a suite of specialized adaptations that make it one of the most adept climbers and hunters in mountainous regions. Its pale, spotted coat provides excellent camouflage against the rocky, snowy landscape, and its powerful limbs allow it to leap with remarkable precision from one rocky perch to another. This specialization gives the snow leopard an evolutionary advantage in the very conditions that would challenge a tiger's traditional mode of survival. In a hypothetical scenario where tigers and snow leopards were forced to compete for resources in a high mountain environment, the advantages would likely lie with the snow leopard. The tiger's bulkier frame and reliance on ambush tactics in densely vegetated areas might become liabilities on steep, open slopes where every movement is exposed and the margin for error is minimal. Furthermore, the energy demands of sustained climbing and the necessity to conserve heat in a cold environment would favor an animal that has evolved to be light, agile, and efficient in its energy use. Snow leopards are renowned for their ability to make long, graceful leaps across chasms and to move silently on precarious ledges, skills honed by thousands of years of natural selection in one of the most inhospitable habitats on Earth. Yet, it is important to consider that the tiger is not without its own potential for adaptation. If environmental pressures were to force tigers into higher altitudes over many generations, natural selection might gradually favor individuals with traits more conducive to mountain living: thicker fur, enhanced balance, and more efficient climbing abilities. In this evolutionary trajectory, tigers might develop adaptations similar to those of the snow leopard, albeit starting from a very different baseline. Such a process, however, would require a drastic and sustained shift in environmental conditions, along with a significant amount of time for genetic changes to accumulate. The current form of the tiger, with its solitary and powerful build, is simply not optimized for life on high, rugged mountains. It excels in environments where stealth and explosive power can be used in the dense cover of jungle or along riverbanks, not on the narrow, exposed ledges of high-altitude cliffs. The ecological implications of tigers venturing into mountainous territories also merit consideration. High-altitude environments are characterized by limited prey populations, extreme weather fluctuations, and the constant threat of starvation and hypothermia. The availability of food is often sporadic, and the energy cost of climbing and navigating steep terrain is high. In such conditions, the efficiency of the predator's hunting method becomes critical. Snow leopards have evolved to maximize their energy efficiency, often using stealth and patience to capture prey that is similarly adapted to a life of scarcity. Tigers, with their tendency for burst speed and powerful pounces, might find it challenging to sustain such tactics when every movement carries a high energy cost. Over time, if tigers were forced to adapt to these harsh conditions, we might see a gradual shift towards a more energy-conserving lifestyle, similar in some ways to the snow leopard's approach. However, this transformation would represent a fundamental change in the tiger's behavioral ecology, a change that could alter not only its hunting strategy but its entire way of life. Ultimately, the question of whether tigers can climb mountains like snow leopards invites us to consider the delicate balance between evolutionary adaptation and environmental demands. While tigers have occasionally been observed in hilly or rocky regions, their core adaptations are optimized for forested, lowland habitats where the cover of vegetation supports their ambush strategies. The snow leopard, by contrast, is a master of the mountains, a specialist that has evolved precisely to navigate the challenges of high altitudes, cold temperatures, and steep, rocky terrain. In a direct comparison, snow leopards would undoubtedly have the upper hand in terms of climbing ability and energy efficiency in extreme, high-altitude environments. In conclusion, while tigers might exhibit a surprising degree of adaptability and could, under exceptional circumstances, climb rocky outcrops and navigate hilly terrain, they are unlikely to match the specialized climbing prowess of the snow leopard in a true high-mountain environment. The tiger's evolution has not favored the lightweight, agile form necessary for sustained movement on steep, icy slopes, nor has it developed the intricate balance and energy-conserving strategies seen in snow leopards. In cold, high-altitude environments where every step is a battle against gravity and the elements, the snow leopard stands as the unrivaled champion, a creature perfectly attuned to the challenges of its habitat. While the tiger remains one of nature's most formidable predators, its strengths lie in different ecological niches, and its ability to hunt on cliff faces and high mountains is, at best, limited compared to the elegant, adaptive prowess of the snow leopard. This exploration not only highlights the differences in physical adaptations and behavioral strategies between these two magnificent big cats but also serves as a broader reflection on the power of evolution to shape life in response to the environment. The world of high mountains, with its extreme conditions and unforgiving terrain, demands a set of adaptations that the snow leopard embodies to perfection, leaving the tiger as a master of a different realm, one where stealth and power reign in the lush, dense habitats of the lowlands.